Hey guys, from MudMowers. Today we're gonna be fixing this Briggs & Stratton Stouto, and I'm gonna be giving you guys some info and some tips on these Stoutos too. Enjoy! So I've got this here big Stouto. I'm not sure exactly what's wrong with it, but if I try to tone this, it won't tone very easily. It does tone, but I think the magnets are broken inside of it. That's probably where all the crunching's from. And I've also got a couple of Stoutos over here. These are two Briggs, and that's the Colo. I'm gonna give you guys some info on these really quick. So the reason I don't like Colo Stoutos, they've pretty much stuck with this design for a long time. Two bolts here, and they have this thing here. This is the Bendix, and there's this little cap, and then there's the whole gear and everything. It's on the shaft, and they use some kind of rubber bushing or something right here, and then they had the Stouto, and those are one piece, but they can't come apart. And once those come apart, these don't work anymore. And they're not very cheap Stoutos, and I've somehow even sometimes cracked these Stouto Bendixes right off. But that's just why I don't like these Colo engine or the Colo Stoutos too much. The one thing I can show you guys is they're pretty much the exact same bottom half. As you can see, they've got two bolts with that for the bearing or bushing. They just got the cases here, just the top's a little bit different. That might not be the same for all of these Briggs & Colo Stoutos. That's what we got in front of us here. Next up is, there's a couple of different types of Briggs & Stratton Stoutos used. These are the newer versions with these steel tops that bolt onto the engine. Some of these have aluminum ones that are about twice as thick. And one thing you can notice, I got these lined up here. And this one over here that we're going to be opening up is about a centimeter longer. The black housing where the magnets are about 1 centimeter longer. And here's an opposed twin Stouto. The opposed twin is pretty much, it is the same length as this short one. So they use some of these different longer ones in some applications. Another problem with these Briggs opposed twin Stoutos is the design is a lot different how they bolt on. They use two bolts that are underneath the flywheel, so this is like that, and you got the flywheel up here. It's really hard to get to these bolts, but they're not impossible to do. And the second problem is this bushing down in here always gets worn out. It's kind of hard to see, but this shaft is very loose, and that's pretty much the only problem that will cause these plastic gears that come on these opposed twins to strip out, because this gear is moving so much and it's just pushing itself away from the ring gear, stripping these out. So if you're constantly eating these Stouto gears, make sure you check into this bushing. If I did know a bushing that fits in here, I would tell you guys, but I haven't found a bushing that would just press right into there. Once I have, I'll make sure I get a video of that. And you have to make sure that you have the right gears that you're going to be using. This is the metal gear. It has 14 teeth. This is a plastic gear that has 16 teeth. So to get into one of these Stoutos, it's really simple. There was two 5/16 head bolts on the back here. Take off 5/16 socket. Take those out. There we go. These go all the way up to the case to here. Make sure you take note of which side your power goes in here. Usually all of them on this side. If you got that on the back, this is also pointing out here. So you can go ahead and pull these out quite long. Yeah, I'm noticing Lots of metal shavings. That's what I was thinking, as this magnet in here is broken. There's the plate with the little bushing down in there. In the very back we had the brushing housing. I'm just pry that out with a screwdriver. Shouldn't be too hard in there. There we go, you can just grab it here. And there's all the brushes. These ones look pretty nice. None of these wires are heated up or burnt. That's good. That could mean that the starter was overheated. These are a little bit black, but that's fine. I can sand those down. And here's the rest of the starter. It's kind of hard to see in there. But I do see lots of broken magnet, so we should be able to pull this off here. This one's really stuck because the magnet is all broken up. But even when you're doing this, it's going to be a little bit hard because these magnets are pulling. So be careful you don't scrape up the armature while you're doing this. There we go. So I'm noticing that magnet there is just totally removed. It's broken off. There's one piece of it. As long as I didn't scrape any of these wires, wire coating off, that's fine. These look good. Another good note, this bearing, top bearing isn't very loose at all. There's a lot of discoloration, some pitting that can just be sanded down. And these wires here aren't very colorized, they're still bright like a copper wire. So because Briggs uses a couple of different starter types, and the housing types are different, this is all fine. I can just sand that down there. This is the broken housing. This is the new housing that I have. And as you can see, it is a lot smaller. It's the shorter version. And I don't think I have a housing that's longer that's not working, a bad starter I can take it off of. So it's just gonna be lying around like this for now. I'll probably just slip it in here so I don't, when this is sitting around, it's not going to get scratched up or anything. I'm going to show you guys some stuff inside these starters, that interchangeable stuff. We've got a bearing plate or the bottom plate here. This is the top plate with another bearing in there. There's 2 bolts. Like I said, the older style uses big aluminum mount. There's a plastic cap instead of a steel cap. So here's the bendix of a Briggs. It's just got a square shaft in there. And the shaft there, you guys can kind of see, it's just a square. Even these auto style still have a square shaft. And I believe this part here that the gear sits on, except for this top stuff, is the same. As you can see, it's just got that, and this should be the same part as this, and it uses the same key way as that. And there's also these different length bolts that go for the housing. If I saw that one there, you can see that one's about a centimeter longer, because like I said, that housing is a lot longer than this one. So always just check for that. And there's also, here's a top part of a newer style starter like this one, with the bendix part, the gear, the spring, and then this. That is just a little washer kind of thing, and then there's a clip that sits kind of down inside this, like that. You can just take a screwdriver, slide a screwdriver in there, and then use a socket to punch it back on. That's a little spring washer. Make sure this washer is bent. Make sure the bend goes up when you're assembling that. There's also these little clips here. Very useful to have. These ones are about 1.5 inches by 1 inch, with just a slight bend on the ends of them. When you buy a new one of these brushing houses, Briggs has these little things in there already holding the brushes apart. So like I said, these gears, this was a 16 tooth, this one's a 14 tooth. One thing to note is this one has some characters on it that say this side up. You'll be able to see that on yours. This one here, the metal gear, it's got this ridge on it. That there, that goes down, and this one here with the text goes up. If I look on this one here, you guys can see that ridge is in there. So that's kind of important, just the way this thing flies up. And we can put these on here. That one goes like that, and that bump is down. That one will go on there like that. So lastly, I'm going to show you guys how to put these clips in here. And I would put this starter back together, but I don't have the right case for it. So I'm going to show you guys how to work these brushes back in. So I'm going to take one of these clips here, and I'm just going to choose any hole. We're going to hold one of these brushes compressed, slip this in there just like that, slip it in there, and take that one, compress the brush like that, and press it all the way back in there. There we go. So, oops, lost the spring. That clips in there like that, and we put the spring back in this slot. Oop, almost. There we go, there's the spring. So we can take this other brush. Looks like it's stuck underneath this wire. We'll get it out of there. Get it ready to go in. Take this here, make sure this thing isn't getting too mixed up. We'll compress the other brush, put the last clip in there, and we can just start slipping in here just so it holds. Take this brush, compress it, and then get this clip all the way in there. So make sure none of these are going to fall out, make sure they're not very loose. There's the clips, and you guys can see that all these little brushes are held in there. And if I did have a complete starter that was about to go together, I would take this, make sure it's all clean, make sure my brushes are clean, and slide this together, and go up here, wait for the clicks, and then I can just pull these out. As simple as that. So there's that done. No binding, no nothing. And if I want, I can pull it back out, and that's what the brush is. So, hope you guys enjoyed this video of MudMowers. Hope you guys found this video useful. And make sure you don't drop these things or even get water on them, because that's probably what broke this. It being dropped is actually this one over here. And if I find anything that might be helpful, I'll make sure I make a new video on it. Stay tuned for more.